I'm not a big fan of D&D's suffocation rules. I just think they're a little bit bland. The way that suffocating works, drowning, suffocation, what have you, is a creature can hold its breath for a number of minutes equal to 1 plus its constitution modifier, or a minimum of 30 seconds. When a creature runs out of breath or is choking, it can survive for a number of rounds equal to its constitution modifier for a minimum of 1 round. If you have a 14, then you have a +2 modifier, which means that you can survive for 2 rounds before you immediately drop to 0 hit points and start dying. I think it's fine, all things considered, but I do think that it's a little bit bland personally, and I think that there are other ways that you can go about running the same kind of encounter in a more interesting and more dynamic way. That unfortunately 5th edition D&D, even though it is my system of choice, I'm not blind to the fact that it's not exactly robust in some of its mechanics. So I use a system called breath points. Breath points is a little bit different. A creature can hold its breath for a number of rounds equal to their constitution score, which I refer to as breath points. At the start of your next turn after losing your last breath point, you are rendered unconscious, and you begin making death saves. You can't be healed or stabilized, normal things, blah, blah, blah. However, in this situation, you don't drop to 0 hit points because I just don't like that. I mean, I get it. I understand why it's that way, like mechanically speaking, why they do it in rules as written, but I don't like it, so I don't do it. Additionally, when a creature is forced to hold their breath without warning, for example, if they're suddenly submerged in a liquid, they have to make a constitution saving throw. The DC for which is 15. If they fail, then the number of rounds they can hold their breath for is reduced by half. But if they succeed, they still get all of those rounds. Here's where it gets dynamic. You can spend a breath point for any spell you cast underwater or while you're suffocating that requires a verbal component. And you also lose an additional breath point when you take damage while you're holding your breath. The original way that it works in rules as written D&D, I think functions just fine, but it lacks that dynamism where you can like do stuff with it. You can change things around. You can decide, oh, I've got only a certain number of breath points left, but I really want to cast this spell. It's going to bring me a little closer to having to make death saves. Or, oh, I need to be really careful about taking damage because it's going to bring me down a lot quicker. And I think that's more interesting to me personally.